Is striving for perfection really that important? I mean, aren't there times when good enough is good enough? And if so, when? Well, I'm glad you asked. That's what this video is talking about. Stay tuned. The other day I was visiting with a friend. She's a personal trainer, and because she knew I had a heart attack 9 years ago, she was asking me how had I changed my exercise regimen since the heart attack. Well, we were talking a little bit about different exercises and increasing cardio and that type thing. And I got around to telling her a little bit about the surgery. I'm in surgery, kind of halfway laying down, halfway sitting, watching as the doctor is putting a stent in my heart. I had one artery that was 99% blocked. And of course, nowadays you're awake watching on a big screen TV the whole operation. So as I'm watching the operation, I can hear the doctor talking, and he is saying to himself essentially, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then there's this pause. And then he says, perfect. And I couldn't help it. I busted out and said to everybody, now when somebody is working on my heart, that is exactly the word I want to hear. Perfect. And of course, at that point, the doctor and all the nurses busted out laughing. It was kind of a comical moment. I'm really glad that he had that as his goal. I'm glad he was striving for perfection. I'm not sure how I would have felt had he said a little bit more, a little bit more, that's good enough. And so I want to talk about how important striving for perfection is and when good enough is just not good enough. I think I appreciated his striving for perfection a little bit more, not only because it was my heart, but also because it matched my strategy in life. I have really found that when you strive for perfection, even if you don't reach it, you end up accomplishing more than if you had set your goal a little bit lower. So I strive for perfection in just about everything that I do. Which then leads me to the question, what are the areas of your life where you really believe striving for perfection is justified? This is important enough to you where it really says you should be striving for perfection in that area. I think this is a great exercise to do. To sit down at some point and say to yourself, what are the areas of my life where, you know what, I probably should be striving for perfection? Realizing that if I strive for perfection, and even if I come a little bit short of that, I'm still going to achieve more than if I had set my goal a little bit lower. So some of the areas that people have shared with me in the past, they strive perfection are how I run my life, how I treat other people, staying true to myself, staying true to my values. Craig, that is one where, I learned a long time ago that if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. I strive for perfection in how I run my life every day. Okay? Other people will say how I provide for my family is so important to me. I always strive for perfection in that area. Another one could be I'm a manager and how I lead. I strive for perfection in all of my leadership responsibilities. You don't even have to be a leader. You could be an individual contributor. And it could be that as I do my job every day, I strive for perfection in doing everything well. So step one of that exercise would be to generate a list of activities that you deem worthy of striving for perfection in. The second step would then be to evaluate where are you in striving for perfection on those. And the ones that you say, with this one, it's worthy and I'm doing it, pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. Your belief system matches your behavior. And there may be others on that list where you're saying, this is worthy of me striving for perfection, but I am not. And that then leads us to why not? We got to look at some of the common barriers or obstacles to striving for perfection and kind of settling for good enough. Well, the first one is a pessimism or a lack of belief in yourself, not having the courage to push forward. Of course, that's very closely tied with fear of failure. And if I strive for perfection in this area and I fall short, how do I manage that? Will that be devastating to me? Very closely tied to fear of failure is fear of success. Let's say that I strive for perfection and I achieve it. Then moving forward, will I and everybody else expect me to be perfect in that area all the time? And am I ready for that pressure and that responsibility? What about if marginal performance is accepted by other people? Now we get into falling into the trap of I'm allowing how other people view my behavior to influence me more than my own expectations of myself. It really should be, I don't care what everybody else expects, what do I expect of myself? And so if you're accepting marginal performance, that's great, but that's not acceptable to me. And the fourth one is maybe poor time management or poor prioritization. There are things that maybe you should be giving more time and attention and more focus on, and you haven't moved them up the list to focus on them quite as much. Well, so as you identify what the barriers are, maybe some of these are easy. Maybe it was just that, now that I did this exercise, I realize this is important to me. I should be focusing on perfection and I'm not, and by gosh, I'm going to start doing it. Well, that's an easy way to change it. Some of the other ones are maybe not so easy. And so if you're looking for more information on how to move past some of these barriers, stay tuned because I will be doing other videos on how to move past fear of failure, how to move past fear of success, how to increase your self-esteem so that you have a little bit more courage to attack more things. Perfection. Boy, that word perfect. I love that word perfect, and I certainly love it when people say it to me. Craig, that was perfect. I love it because, well, because it's perfect. That's my perspective. What's yours? Swing by our website, leave us a comment or a question. Check out other videos like this one, and if you like this one, please pass it on. It's been a pleasure being with you. Till next time, see you.